Welcome back to the channel, guys. Here's another off-market one for you. This is VIN 2081, and it is a very special car. This is a 2017 083 Ultra White with LA10 interior. That's Stratus Gray. So this is white on white, and it is for sale with 82,000 miles in Maryland for question mark price. There's no price that's been disclosed. So I have talked with the seller about this and kind of leaving it up to him where he thinks the price will be best, and I'll discuss my thoughts on that here below. Production statistics: 648 out of the 2,348 cars for the US 49 were ultra white 083. Only 12 had LA10 Stratus Gray interior, 0.51%, 1/2%. It is a 10 out of 10 for rarity. White on white, you do not see very many of these. For 2017, 115 out of the 342 cars were ultra white, so that's like a third of them. However, in Stratus Gray, there were only 2. And of those 2, one had black calipers, one had orange calipers. So that makes this car a true 1 of 1 based on options, 1 of 2 based on interior combo for 2017, or 1 of 12 for all years. No matter how you look at it, this is a very rare example. As far as options go, so this was a Lexus-owned car originally, D7. So that is courtesy delivery straight to Toyota or TMS, their marketing division. And it has G4 selected, which is the lighted front door sills. It has a Mark Levinson, it has orange calipers, but it does not have glass brake sensors, and it doesn't have the split polished wheels either. So it has the base model wheels, which are the gray painted wheels. Still the same wheel design, same lightweight wheel, just not polished. Carfax, Epic VIN, and AutoCheck. Carfax shows this as a 5-owner, no accident car. Epic VIN shows this as a 4-owner, no accident car. And AutoCheck also shows this as a 4-owner, no accident car. I'm of the belief that it is a 4-owner, no accident car. I think Carfax is confusing it a little early on with how it got titled with Lexus and things like that. But I think this is a 4-owner car. So previous sales, as I said, Lexus was the original owner of this car. They titled it, and it hung out around Miami, Florida. So as they owned it, it was serviced there. It could have been owned by somebody that worked for them. It could have been an auto show car. Most of these with these weird or rare combinations, they were auto show cars first. So see if you can find this car on the internet, old car show pictures in the Miami area, like in early 2017. That's about when you would see it. Be very easy to find because it is a true 1 of 1. White exterior, white interior, orange calipers. If you can find that, that is this car. As it was titled, it probably had California distributor or manufacturer plates on it, even though it was in Florida. And so from December 16 to June 2018, it had almost 15,000 miles added to it. So like a year and a half, that's pretty long term. And so I don't know if this was a press car. Usually the press cars are titled through a Missouri LLC that they have, and this doesn't kind of follow that path. So I think it was either belonged to a high up individual, or it was a auto show car early on, or both, because they put some miles on it. It did get 15,000 miles put on it. The combination of it having the option D7 checked, and it was disclosed as a manufacturer owned car when it was sold from Lexus. So then June of 2018, $66,000, 15,000 miles in Augusta, Georgia, L certified, and it sold September of 2018, so less than 3 months for sale. And it looks like whoever bought it was in Minnesota, so it made its way to the north, and then it was for sale in September of 2022, $54,000 with 46,000 miles in St. Paul, Minnesota at a GMC dealer. September of 2024, $49,500 with 62,000 miles, again in Minnesota, now at a Ford dealer, and it sold in under 2 months to the current owner who is in Maryland. So now here it is, late May 2026, 82,000 miles for question mark price. But it is off market, but you will be seeing it for sale very soon. So now onto the photos. The first and foremost, my concern would be this car being from Minnesota the last several years and Maryland. Was it winter driven? Well, I asked the owner for photos, and as you can see here, there are several photos that he provided from looking at it underneath, and it doesn't look rusty at all. You can tell it probably had a little bit of winter driving, some little corrosion or oxidation on the aluminum parts, but it looks really clean overall. I don't think this was like heavily winter driven. in snow and salt and things like that. Even though when we get to the service history, you'll see as a precaution, they switch back and forth between summer and winter tires. And that's something that's pretty common to see in Minnesota anyway. So the owner states that it has an RR Racing exhaust, an air oil separator, RR Racing. It has a Hamilton CarPlay unit as well for the head unit. The tires were replaced 5,000 miles ago. It has 2025 date codes on it. The valley plate has not been done. So it's not currently leaking, but it has not been done. So that is something to factor into the future purchase. I do see a little bit of damage on the rear bumper. You can see something kind of bumped into it. And the brake pads, you can see pictures of that. The brake pad life looks like it's got plenty of life left on it. The rotors, you can tell, are a little bit older. They're not, perfect, shiny, things like that, but they don't have a significant lip on them either. So I would say brakes are probably fine, and it has fairly new tires, so it doesn't need brakes and tires, which is what these cars almost always need. I see Frank's Custom Creations splash guards. Shout out to Frank. The carbon fiber trim on the left and right side of the dash, it looks like those have been refinished, and my eye caught that because the gloss level is not quite the same as it is on the doors and on the center console. Pretty common to see that somebody will remove those, take them to a body shop, they'll re-clear them, something like that. That's probably what went on here. That's what that looks like. Not a big deal, but it's just something that I'm here to point out to you. It also looks like on the driver's front door, that panel, the carbon fiber is just starting to delaminate. That's kind of what it's looking like. The touch points look great. The interior looks great. I really don't see any issues other than that. So as far as the price goes, I would expect to see, with 82,000 miles, I would expect to see this car somewhere around the $50,000 to $54,000 mark. And remember, this market in the last 60 plus days, everything has been trending up. And prior to that, I would probably still put this like 48 to 50, and now probably 50 to 54 with the way things are going. Everything is creeping up a little bit. It is also a one-of-one car or a one-of-two car, how you want to look at it. So it is a very rare example. You're not going to find another one like this for sale. So if that's important to you, add a little bit of value. But in my experience, the rare spec cars, they don't really sell for more money unless they're a true one-of-one, which this technically could be. But like some of the 2020s, there's like one car that was a certain color or things like that. But this is a common color, but it's a rare combination. And so does that add any value? Maybe to the right person, but it probably helps it sell quicker. So as far as the service history goes, this car is very well dealer serviced for the most part. The first entry of note is June of 2018, certified pre-owned prep, and they did the JLB recall. That's the high pressure fuel pumps. October of 2018, install winter tires. And so remember, this car was in Minnesota, so there's going to be a lot of that on the service history. March of 2019, reset the immobilizer, new keys, and it was towed in from Lametry's Richfield. And I wasn't sure what that is, so I Googled it, and it looks like it's a collision and glass place. So I don't know if this was broken into, if it was stolen, if it hit something. There's no real information there, and this was quite a bit before the current owner's ownership as well. So something maybe went on there. Maybe glass, maybe some paint work. I don't know. That would be, something just of note. Putting a new immobilizer, reprogramming the immobilizer, and cutting new keys. That kind of makes me think that it's a possibility that it could have been stolen, and they just, towed it from that collision shop to the dealer to program those keys and cut the keys. Not 100% sure there, but that would be something that you may want to look into. April of 2019, dismount winter tires, install summer tires. October of 2019, 29,000 miles, the KLG was done. So that is the GPS location reporting in the wrong spot, and both rear shocks were replaced. And that's very common on these cars, and they installed the winter tires. So the adaptive damping shocks from 2017 through 2020, they had a defective internal oil seal, and they didn't update the part, they leaked. They didn't update the part until about 2021. So this was in 2019, so it was still replaced with the older parts that still failed. November of 2019 at 30,000 miles, the 30,000 mile service, along with brake fluid flush. April of 2020, 4 new tires, new front pads and rotors, store the winter tires, the left front shock was leaking and replaced, and the right front was done at the same time. So this car, as of April 2020, it has 4 new shocks, but they were still the older parts. December of 2020, install winter tires. April of 2021, install summer tires. November of 2021, install winter tires. June of 2022, install summer tires, and a check engine light was on for the O2 sensor. They replaced one, which was bank 2 sensor 2, which that is the driver's side rear oxygen sensor. August of 2024, 60,000 miles, the catalytic converter for bank 2 was determined to be faulty and replaced, and I bet that was an expensive replacement if it wasn't under warranty. And they noted that the suspension seems noisy with no further information, so I don't know if the shocks are failing again. August of 2024, 2 weeks later, they noted a small crack in the aftermarket exhaust, and then they noted that the catalytic converter on the driver's side, the manifold, was just replaced. The aftermarket exhaust had a seal causing the code. That's what they determined. And you do see that a lot on cars that had an aftermarket exhaust. There's a seal or a gasket between the manifold and the mid-pipe. And on the aftermarket ones, they don't fit just perfectly. The oxygen sensor sits behind that, and it's looking for a certain value, a certain flow. And if it doesn't get it from a leak or something, it will throw a code. And so that's probably what went on here. And you know, I have no further information. So then it was traded in a couple days later. So I guess the owner just said, you know what, throwing my hands up, I'm done with this car, and they traded it in. So then on Carfax, September of 2024, an oil change before it was offered for sale in Minnesota. June of 2025, 70,000 miles. The current owner had the front shocks replaced and oil change and tires. So that jives, you know, he said the tires were replaced in 2025 date codes, and had front shocks replaced. So the rear shocks are probably still, even though they've been previously replaced, they're probably still the old part. So there is a possibility that the rear shocks would still leak or could be leaking. August of 2025, 76,000 miles, an oil change, and that's basically it. So it's probably due for an oil change again if it hasn't already been done. But what's not done? The valley plate, as the owner said, it's not currently leaking, but it has not been done. I would do just on age, the transmission service, the TVD service, and the ZLZ if needed. It has not been done on this car. This car's been in colder climates most of its life, so I wouldn't expect the dash to be sticky. If you're gonna bring it to Florida, Texas, you know, Arizona, California, Southern California, something like that, wouldn't be surprised if it starts getting sticky on you, but you have until November 1st of 2027 to get it replaced. So you have a little bit of time left on that. The brakes look good, the tires are new, the front lower control arm bushings, if needed, if it has any inner front tire wear. The low pressure fuel pump recall, which the parts are not available yet, so it should be here in early June. The parts should be available to get that replaced. And so it just replaces the low pressure fuel pump in the back seat. But I would say for the most part, it's pretty much ready to go. Just be prepared in the future to spend some money on the valley plate, get the fluids done, and go enjoy it. That's the way I would see it. So that brings me to, would I buy this car? Obviously this car had a little bit of winter driving, but it doesn't look exceptionally rusty or anything underneath. I would do a pre-purchase inspection, check out the valley plate anyway, just kind of do a general walk around, look at everything, get the fluids done. But yeah, if priced right, somewhere in that $50,000 to $54,000 range, I would probably pick this up. You know, it definitely has the signs of making of a good one, and it's an unusual spec that you don't see every day. Most of these cars, most of the white cars were the most common was white with red and then white with black, and so this is pretty rare to see it white on white. So as far as how do you get a hold of the seller, I would see if he will comment on the video here and leave a comment. You guys can contact him that way. Otherwise, wait until it comes up for sale on AutoTrader or elsewhere. I recommended to him AutoTrader is a good place to put these cars for sale. It's where they get the most exposure. So this is VIN 2081, definitely one worth checking out. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.